Broadcasting to you from the amazing new LGBTQ Resource Center in Uptown Minneapolis, Queermunity. We are coming to you. This is the Gaily Show. I am your host, JP Dare Bogosian. This week is a whole slew of preview events leading up to the grand opening of Queermunity this Saturday, November 9th. Queermunity is a resource center and it's a social club committed to bringing the LGBTQ plus community together in Minneapolis, St. Paul, the metro region. And if you're coming down from outstate, greater Minnesota, we are located.
Yeah, you too now.
Queermunity is located on Hennepin Avenue at 31st Street in Uptown Minneapolis. It's right next to Majors and Quinn, if you're familiar with the neighborhood. And if you are wondering about parking, which is what I always think about when I'm thinking about Uptown Minneapolis, there is the 7 Points parking garage on the same block of 31st that you can access. Lots of good parking there. If you're taking the bus, it looks like Route 6, 114, 612, and 23 will get you here right to the corner of Hennepin and 31st. So check your routes and your bus times at metrotransit.org. Okay, so there is so much happening here at Queermunity, and I'm so happy to have the Outreach and Partnerships Manager, Seth Anderson Matz. Is it Matz or Matz?
Matz.
Matz.
Yeah.
Okay. Seth is that Partnerships Outreach Manager. So let's do some outreach, Seth.
That's what we're doing.
So we're here in the space. I haven't seen it since it was like not remodeled, but since you put all the stuff in there. So, I mean, walk us through the space that we're looking at here, because it is absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, it is really gorgeous, isn't it? It's, first of all, for those of you who can't see it, it's huge. So we have 11,000 square feet up here. 8,000 of that is usable. We say usable because 3,000 of it is office spaces that are for lease for our community partners. So we've got 5 offices around the outside. Right here right now on this post-election day evening, it is packed. We have, just by my eyes, I would guess about 50 people in here right now.
It's a good crowd.
Yeah, we're hosting an ice cream social right now with our neighbors at Lala Ice Cream. So folks are enjoying some free ice cream and some free vibes and trying to connect with each other and just plug into community tonight and take care of each other. So when you walk in the front door, we've got a resource navigation desk right at the front. That will always be staffed with a trained staff member who can direct you to anything from haircuts to healthcare, and to have that 3-dimensional, like, real connection presence as you're finding whatever it is you need. The resource navigation team also runs and stocks our resource wall, which has dry goods, hygiene products. We're still in the process of stocking it, of course, but there will also be Narcan available, COVID tests, sharps containers, all those things that you might want or need. As you move through the space, we have a full-service cafe as well. The cafe is located on the back wall of the space. The center is sort of our dining room area and lounge. The cafe has incredible creative food from Chef June D. June's worked in a number of restaurants throughout the country, is a James Beard nominee, and we're just so unbelievably blessed to have June on our team.
I couldn't believe it when you said that. You were like, what?
Isn't that wild? I know. The menu is so creative, so dynamic, and they've really done a wonderful job of making food that is special and unique and interesting and still accessible and affordable, and that is a really delicate balance to hold. So they've done a really incredible job. We've got also meeting rooms around the outside. So we've got a conference room, a classroom, and a studio space. All of those are available for hourly rentals, and also will be the location that we host our services and our programs in. We will have a fully stacked schedule of programs and events all week long, all month long. I just finished printing our November's program calendar, and it is a full page, 2 columns of events already, and we're not even open yet. So I think that's really a testament to how hungry people are for a space like this and for in-person connection and all that good stuff. So yeah, we're here.
And you have an art display.
We do, yes.
Wall.
Thank you. Yeah. So when you enter, also, if you come up the stairs, it's on your left. If you come up the elevator, it's on your right. We have a gallery wall. They're currently in the process of installing our first exhibit in there. We'll have a different artist every month. So we'll also host an opening event for that exhibit at the top of each month to share that work with the community and give an opportunity to that artist, whoever it might be, to share their work and to host some some folks here in the space.
And you also have a library, right? In the far
Thank
corner
you for
there,
knowing
which is
more about this space
very
than I do.
special to me.
Yes,
Well,
yeah.
whenever you tell me there's books in a space, that's
Of
immediately
course.
where I gravitate towards.
Naturally.
So,
Naturally, yes. We have a media library. We're in the process of getting it filled out. Please, certainly, if you have donations of books or DVDs or magazines with LGBTQ content and you're willing to donate those to us, we would be very happy to take them. We received a very large donation from our friends at Quatrefoil Library. So they've got a whole shelf that's just those donations. And we do ask folks if they're able to toss a buck or two toward Quatrefoil so we can continue to support that space and organization in our community as well. The library's tucked also near our play area. So for kids or kids at heart, certainly the kids at heart in the queer community, we all have inner children who need some tending. So that space is there for us as well. And that's stocked with arts and crafts supplies and coloring books and puzzles and games and all kinds of stuff to keep your kiddos or yourself occupied. What else did I miss?
Well, you also have 3 gender inclusive restrooms.
Yeah, we have 4 of them.
Four of them.
So there's
Oh, wow.
4, and 2 of them are ADA compliant. The doors, the ADA compliant bathrooms do not yet have door release buttons, so they're not fully accessible. But we certainly welcome folks who are wheelchair users or whoever might need extra support operating those doors to let us know. But yes, one of the benefits of this space actually is that when we got it, it already had 4 single stall gender neutral bathrooms, and obviously that's non-negotiable for our space. So we were really lucky that we didn't have to put that 6-figure project into our budget. It's already here for us. Yeah.
Right. I wanted you to do that for our listeners, and I apologize for those of you that are watching on YouTube. You're just seeing our shining, smiling faces because we can only have the camera going one way. But definitely check out their social media channels that you can find at queermunity.com or queermunitymn.com. Got to get the website out there correctly. But I wanted to ask you about the space because you all are making history here. And I'm going to say this without throwing any shade. I don't mean this as any criticism to folks who have very diligently and committedly, if that's a word, to have an LGBTQ center here in the Twin Cities. And we were really the only major metropolitan area in the entire U.S. that didn't have an LGBTQ resource center like this. We have so many different music groups and faith groups and sports groups and the like, but we never had this. And again, I say that without any shade because there are a lot of people that have been trying over the years to make it happen. But you all, this is history in the making, which is leading to the grand opening ribbon cutting that is happening on Saturday at 9, right, a.m. or is it 10?
10 a.m.
10 a.m.
Yep, to 11. You got it. Yeah. Thanks for lifting that up. We really take seriously that we are on the shoulders of a lot of folks who have worked really hard to create LGBTQ spaces in our community, and certainly there are so many wonderful queer bars and other kinds of queer gathering spaces, but you're right, there's never been something quite to this magnitude, and as people walk in, no one really knows what to expect based on our social media presence, and of course it's been a work in progress until days ago.
I will say, when my executive producer Jim Pounds told me about it, I was like, oh really? Yeah. An LGBTQ resource center. I've heard this story before.
Haven't we all? Yes.
So when you and Hillary, co-founder, were gracious enough to have us come in before you had started putting all this I don't remember. I remember having the feeling of being slack-jawed. Was that your remembrance of me? Because I felt like I spent the entire time getting the tour and just being with my mouth wide open.
Yes, yeah. There's something that happens, I think, when folks walk in, and we've had people walk in and just start crying the second that they walk in because they're like, I had no idea it was going to be this. Yeah. It is really a sight to behold. And earlier in one of our sort of community feedback sessions that we hosted, someone came through and said, I didn't realize how much I needed this place until I was actually inside of it. And that they experienced this feeling of sort of release and knowing that they can just walk in and they can be in here and they can set up shop with their laptop or with games or read a book or whatever it might be and just be uninhibited and no walls up and just be fully present in themselves.
And you've already had even community groups that have been utilizing the space. So I'm thinking of and I'm blanking on the name, the lunch group that meets.
So the Let's Do Lunch folks. So they haven't been in here quite yet, but it's in the works for us to host the Let's Do Lunch folks. The Midwest Farmers of Color Collective has been through and done a couple of. They did their conference here and also hosted a meeting here a couple of weeks ago. YAP, the Youth and AIDS Project, hosted a drop-in testing clinic, but well before we were even close to being done renovating. It was still just kind of a construction zone in here. But yeah, there's been we've gotten a lot of reach out from community groups who are really eager to see the space, to tap in. Actually, today we have J Pride is here with having sort of a meetup. I think sort of an impromptu meetup in the wake of today's news. And they're gathering in the center of our dining room right now. So yeah, we in some ways we don't know what the space is until the people are inside of it, and here they are, clearly ready for it.
Well, and what I love about the space is that somehow, I mean, I don't mean somehow, but like, it's very industrial and glass, and it was a former ad agency, right, that had the space. So there's clearly creativity woven throughout it. But at the same time, even though you've got like this kind of industrial feel, it feels welcoming immediately when you walk into the space, which is just so lovely when you're in here and you feel that. And it is such a functional space that you have in the center here where, and I really appreciated that, where you can make it, useful for a lot of different folks, having walls, having chairs, the different types of setups. Seth, I want to bring you back here later on in the show because there's much more that I want to talk to you about.
Absolutely. I have much more to say.
But we are going to come up to a break here. So we are at the Queermunity, first LGBTQ Resource Center here in the Twin Cities. You can check out all of their programming and how to become a member. We're going to talk about that in our next segment. Go to queermunitymn.com. You are listening to The Gaily Show, broadcasting from Queermunity in Uptown Minneapolis.
Hey, it's Tom. Let's talk about solar. Not just as a smart choice for clean energy, but as a powerful investment in your future. With All Energy Solar, you get a system that can actually pay for itself in as little as 8 years. And once it's up and running, you're looking at low maintenance and a lot of savings. All Energy Solar has been helping Minnesotans move to clean, affordable energy for over 15 years. They'll work with you to create a personalized energy system, no matter how unique your home or business might be. And All Energy Solar will walk you through every step, from the proposal to design work on your roof, right down to working with your utility company to flip the switch. And they make sure you're saving as much as possible with every rebate and incentive available. So make the switch to solar, cut your energy bills, and do something great for the planet. Book your free solar assessment today at allenergysolar.com. That's allenergysolar.com.
Fall means back to school, and hands down the best vehicle for the family is the Toyota Sienna from Rudy Luther Toyota. It hauls everything in comfort. Lots of kids? Check. Mountains of sports gear? Check. A band's worth of musical instruments? Check. Multiple science projects and schoolwork? Check. And the Sienna Hybrid gets you fantastic mileage, and it's the safest vehicle I've ever driven, something I will brag about for the rest of my life. The Toyota Sienna is the perfect Minnesota family vehicle. Test drive one today at Rudy Luther Toyota, 5 miles west of Minneapolis on 394.
Next time on Philosophy Talk, American Futures.
When Ken Taylor passed away, he was working on a book about the future of the American Republic.
So for our end-of-year special, we'll think about where we may all be headed.
Is the U.S. on the road to civil war? Authoritarianism? A national divorce?
Or brighter days ahead?
What have you been smoking?
American Futures. Next time on Philosophy Talk.
Catch Philosophy Talk every Sunday morning at 8 on AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota. That's Philosophy Talk.
Welcome back. You are listening to The Gaily Show here on AM 950 KTNF, the progressive voice of Minnesota. We are recording this at the Queermunity LGBTQ Resource Center in Uptown Minneapolis. We are currently at their Ice Cream Social, which is one of their preview events leading up to their grand opening on Saturday, November 9th. It is amazing to be here and to see all of the people that are here in the space. I am very happy to have joining me now Hillary Ote. Oh, I should have checked this beforehand, right? Ote or Ot?
Odie.
Odie. Oh, bad journalist. I should have vetted that before we got started. Sorry, I apologize, Hillary.
No problem.
Particularly because Hillary is one of the co-founders and the general manager of Queermunity. So I got to say, on your good side. But first of all, welcome to the Gailey Show. Thank you for joining us here.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm super excited to talk to you.
Yeah. So we were talking with Seth about the space and real generally, like how you have a membership model. So really kind of the overview of that. Like how do folks become a member of Queermunity?
Absolutely. Well, I think, and Seth may have mentioned this before too, but the space is always free and available for anyone to come in, to access our lounge, to come have something to drink or eat at the cafe. But we do have some special benefits for members. One of those being access to programs and also parking discounts on spaces, just discounts at the cafe, a lot of great benefits for members, and the knowledge that you're supporting keeping this space sustainably open for the whole community. There's a lot of different membership options to meet different needs. We have an entry-level membership that's just $20 a month. Seth likes to say that's how much I forget about my other subscriptions are going on. So it's really an entry level, hopefully not too burdensome for folks.
Well, there's like services now, I think, on the internet that you could like go on and find out, oh yeah, I have this subscription to Apple and I don't need it anymore because I never go there. So you could do that, folks. You could go on. I don't know what the name of the service is. You could find out what that thing is that you've forgotten and then spend it here.
That's right.
At Queermunity.
And you would never
$20 a month.
You would never cancel your Queermunity membership because it's going to be so fun and so wonderful and such a benefit for the community. But it's an easy $20 a month, same as like a Netflix or a streaming account. And then we have
it's cheaper than Netflix at this point.
Is it? And then we have the next level up, which is family. Well, we have a family membership, and then we have a sustainer level for individuals. We also have organizational memberships.
Ooh.
Yeah, so if you are a small business owner, if you have a community group, so even if it's not like a fully formed business, but it's a community group, or if you have a nonprofit or a business that would like to regularly meet in some of our meeting rooms or have some office space, those organizational memberships have some great benefits too. So is this like queer-owned businesses that can primarily take care of the space, or is this kind of like open to the organization, like the larger community? It is open to the larger community. I think the benefit of the membership is that collaboration within the community. So I think a lot of the organizations that are looking for these type of memberships generally serve LGBTQ folks mostly. Right. But they're going to want to have their monthly meeting here. They're going to want to have their socials here. They're going to want to have their board meeting in our conference room, monthly workshops open to the community, things like that. Yeah. So the membership gives them a great discount on the space to be able to access our conference room. We also have a flex space and classroom that are part of that access.
Something that I was thinking about on that end when you talk about classroom, when I got the tour, the pre-tour, was that how folks could do ally trainings. And like accomplished trainings,
absolutely,
for the community, like to come here to be in this space, I think would set the tone for the training in a way that would be so much more like beneficial for organizations that are coming in and doing that.
Yeah.
And I love that you have that offering to the community, that it's not just, coming in and being able to enjoy the space and enjoy the programming, but like there's good work happening here. Right, as well, and growing businesses. And part of that where I'm transitioning to with that is tell me how you got to this point, because I was talking with Seth a little bit about how you all are making history, right? Like you're now making, the first LGBTQ center here in the Twin Cities and larger Minnesota. I want to reiterate that, folks. If you're coming in, you can come in from like St. Cloud, Mankato, Winona, Faribault. Like this is a really amazing space to be in with the community. But tell us, how did you get here?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's been a long journey with the steering committee, with the large group. We have about 13 steering committee members, and we've been working on this project for the last 2.5 years. I would be remiss if I didn't mention all of the community leaders who have worked on community spaces and centers in the past to get them going and to have versions of this in the past. So I was asked earlier today,
what is this modeled after that has existed in the past? And my answer was it's kind of a little bit of everything, right? So we have had LGBTQ plus centered and run cafes. That's part of what we have here.
Yep.
We have had drop-in spaces. We have had spaces that have programming. We haven't really had co-working. I know that's a little bit of a new thing.
Yeah.
But it's the combination of the things here is unique because it's a little bit of everything from the past of what folks have done. And the model is a little bit different. So that's also part of what we spent a lot of time doing. So a big part of the journey to get here was the Finovation Fellowship. So I was a Finovation Fellow, which is a 1-year opportunity for social entrepreneurs to really dive deep into community needs and understand the community, understand their needs, understand what was offered in the past or what other offerings are available that aren't meeting needs. So I really was very privileged and grateful to have the opportunity to spend that time doing a deep dive community needs assessment. We had a number of town halls, focus groups, listening sessions, one-on-one interviews. I interviewed about 60 community leaders.
Wow.
It was a really in-depth community needs assessment that we were able to spend some time doing. And then taking all the information that we gathered along with surveys and a bunch of just general research to really develop this model. And so my co-founder and partner, Kayla Barth, and I really spent a lot of time digging through all of that research, all of those needs assessments, and coming up with this model that has had various evolutions even over the last 2 years for us to be able to end up here. So the model started with more of a real estate focus, where we were going to work with different partners to secure a space. We evolved after hearing the community really so verbally and vocally saying, we want a space for us to just be together.
Yeah.
It has to have food. It has to have, and we have a whole list of things that, it has to be accessible by transit. We have to have gender neutral restrooms. We have to have affinity groups and places for everyone together who is not being served elsewhere. And so the evolution over the last couple of years took us on a huge real estate journey as well. So we looked at over 4 dozen properties.
Oh, I didn't know it was that many.
Yeah, it was a lot. We worked with we had a great broker. She was fabulous. A lot of the potential landlords weren't so fabulous. We experienced racism and homophobia amongst landlords who did not want us in their building. So it was a really long journey to get to this place where we found a space that checked all the boxes, had a team that we were working with, and the rest, I guess, just kind of fell into place. Every step along the way, every time we had a challenge, it felt like at every turn there was a solution being offered by the community, and it really feels like this has come to fruition with universal guidance, and I think at just the right time for what the community needs, where we are like literally today, and what's going on today is a great reminder that this is what we need, this is what our community needs, and this is the perfect time for us to be here.
For folks who are just tuning in, you're listening to The Gailey Show. We are doing a special program from Queermunity. They're one of their preview events, the Ice Cream Social. You can find more information about Queermunity on their website, queermunitymn.com. They're also on Facebook, they're on Instagram, and they are on Threads. They're located at Hennepin and 31st Street. Hillary was just telling us about transit options, and the bus routes 6, 114, 6, 12, and 23 will get you right here, right to the block of Hennepin and 31st. Really quickly, because we have a couple minutes here left, you have the grand opening on Saturday, and there's 3 things that are happening there. So you've got the ribbon cutting that is at 10. And then what are the other events that you have for the rest of the day to celebrate the grand opening of Queermunity?
It's going to be a really fun day. So we have the ribbon cutting at 10, and immediately after is Family Fun Day. So bring the kids, bring the whole family. The goal is really for the space to be welcoming to all ages and really intergenerational. We want more intergenerational connections here. So we have puppet making, some arts and crafts, some theater games. We have all kinds of snacks and treats. And the cafe will be open later in the evening. We will have a very varied, what is a better word for that? Extra varied variety show. It's a variety show, but the variety is such a huge variety of things, of performers that we have. It's going to be a great lineup. You can check out the lineup on our website, but it's a after hours 18 plus variety show on Saturday. So that'll be
So
great.
if you're listening to this on Thursday evening, it is Saturday at 7? It's Saturday evening.
I believe, yes. 6 or
More
7?
details at queermunitymn.com. And if you're listening to this on Saturday afternoon, our broadcast, then please clear your schedule and come on over to Queermunity. Are there tickets for either the Family Fun Day or for the variety show?
For the Family Fun Day, no, but the variety show is RSVP. So it's free, but we'd really like you to RSVP so we make sure we don't go over capacity.
Oh, that's right. Things you have to think about now when you've got a space.
Fire exits, safety.
And so folks can, I'm assuming, RSVP at queermunitymn.com?
Absolutely.
Okay. Great. So we've got the 30 seconds left. So we're going to take a break here. We're going to bring Seth back in because Seth is the guru of all of the memberships. And we want to really dive into the membership categories and how people can become a member and support Queermunity. Hillary, thank you for joining me on The Gailey Show.
Thank you for having me, JP.
Okay, we're going to take a quick break and we'll be back right after these commercial breaks. Please support these local sponsors which keep AM 950 KTNF, the progressive voice of Minnesota, on the air.
This is Andy Otto, your host of Twin Cities Pride Amplified, inviting you to join us this Saturday at 3 p.m. as we get to know Arnold Dahl Woolley, a member of the Leech Lake Band of Ojibwe, who is also a Two-Spirit educator and activist. We'll chat with Arnold about the great work he's doing in building community in the Bemidji area, including the opening of a new community space. That's this Saturday at 3 p.m., right here on AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota. This is Andy Otto, your host of Twin Cities Pride Amplified, inviting you to join us this Saturday at 3 p.m. as we get to know Arnold Dahl Woolley, a member of the Leech Lake Band of Ojibwe, who is also a Two-Spirit educator and activist. We'll chat with Arnold about the great work he's doing in building community in the Bemidji area, including the opening of a new community space. That's this Saturday at 3 p.m., right here on AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
Hey, it's Tom. In today's world, fake news spreads 6 times faster than facts, and myths about solar energy are no exception. So let's clear up a few big ones with help from All Energy Solar. First up, there's this idea that solar's just too expensive. Well, sure, the upfront cost may look steep, but with tax incentives and savings on your utility bill, solar pays for itself. The experts at All Energy Solar will guide you through the whole process to ensure you receive every available incentive. Another myth is solar's not reliable. Well, not so. Pairing solar with energy storage means you can capture power on sunny days and keep things running smoothly even when the power grid's down. And how about this one? Solar panels don't work in cooler, cloudy climates. Actually, solar panels rely on sunlight, not heat, so they're efficient even in colder places. The truth is, choosing a provider you can trust is the key. And All Energy Solar is committed to making solar accessible to everyone. Book your free solar site assessment today at allenergysolar.com.
Welcome back to The Gailey Show. This is JP Derbragosian. We are doing this recording from Queermunity, the Twin Cities, and the Twin Cities, definitely, first LGBTQ resource center and social club committed to bringing the LGBTQ plus community together in Minnesota. We will have your regularly scheduled programming if you're listening to this on Thursday evening, back tomorrow on Friday. And if you're listening to this on Saturday afternoon, the Saturday re-airing of this, we have a variety show that is happening this evening. It is RSVP only, so go to queermunitymn.com to reserve your space. As Hillary was saying in the previous segment, it's going to be a varied variety of goodness, so definitely check that out. Seth has returned because Seth is the guru of the memberships, and really diving into those. So can you walk us through, there's a variety of different memberships. There's the individual, and there's a couple more, and then there's the organizational memberships. So walk us through what those individually are, the prices and the benefits of
You got it, yeah. And, not knowing what Hillary's already told you, but just first and foremost, I always tell people that we are 100% free and open to the public, 7 days a week, 8 to 8. So you do not have to be a member to come and hang out in the space, get food and drink from the cafe. We have a number of public free events happening all the time. That said, the way that we're able to do that is through our community memberships. So our memberships start as low as $20 a month. In exchange for that $20 as a thank you for your investment in our local LGBT community, we're able to offer you discounts in our cafe and in our makers market, discounts on rentals of our meeting rooms, discounts on tickets for events when we do have ticketed events. We also have discounts on our gallery art if you are an art buyer and want to come on through.
I didn't realize those could be for sale, but that obviously makes sense.
Yes, you got it. Yeah. In addition to that, you also get a monthly credit. So for each membership level, it ends up being about 50% of your membership due comes back to you as a credit in the space. So if you do that basic membership at $20 a month, you get a $10 credit to use in the cafe, in the makers market. You can use it for parking in our ramp if you'd like. I think that's a big perk for a lot of folks.
Yeah.
So it's our sort of way of saying, hey, thank you so much for helping us sustain this space. We want to invite you to come and use the space in all of the many, many incredible, diverse ways that you can. And our way of encouraging that is through those perks and benefits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the next level up is the...
Yeah, so it's right now we are calling it the family membership. We're trying to kind of figure it out because on the back end of our membership platform, we're trying to figure out how to put multiple users on an account and all those things all those fun things that come with starting a business. So we call it the family membership for now. I believe that one's at $40 a month. And it's the same deal. So you get $20 back as a monthly credit. You can use it in the cafe, the makers market, etc. And yeah, we especially welcome folks with kiddos, especially youth, to come on through. We've got a number of families in here right now with some tots, kind of walking through and checking out the space. As I mentioned earlier, we have a play area in the space for your kiddos to hang out too. They tend to kind of gravitate toward it on their own. So the family membership is that one. Then we've got the sustainer membership at, I believe it's $80 a month. And then we've got organizational memberships as well. So the organizational memberships have a higher discount. It'll be 30% on especially meeting rooms. We anticipate that's what organizations will mostly need from us. And then also that discount applies to the cafe. So if you want to have food or drink for your meeting or your event or whatever it might be, there's a discount on that as well. And again, it really is how we sustain our space. It's how we pay the staff. It's how we keep the lights on, keep the bills paid. So this is an entirely community funded operation. And the benefit of that to us is that we aren't, sort of groveling for grant funding. We're not having these sort of, heavily earmarked funds. We're able to freely use our resources however we feel that we need to or want to, and also able to share those resources a lot more freely with the community.
Grants are nice, but there's just a couple of, queer folks know this, the grant-making world doesn't necessarily prioritize the gays and the queers.
It's true. It's true. I even think about, speaking of lost LGBT spaces, I think of Patrick's Cabaret, which was very near and dear to me. A huge part of the sunsetting of that organization was grant funders that would say, we're not really sure if we're comfortable funding this LGBT organization. And they actually, Patrick's Cabaret in particular, had a huge lawsuit around discrimination of a grant funder and won. So that's incredible precedent. But yes, it's increasingly difficult to access funds via grants, via wealthy donors. And then of course you're beholden to the grantors and the wealthy donors instead of the community, which is really who we're here to serve.
It's very and my limited experience of being in the nonprofit world and a queer organization and trying to get grants, it's very trendy, you know, and then when they feel like, oh, they've done it, then they sort of move on to their next trendy thing to invest in.
Absolutely.
So I'm really happy as just a community member to see the various, you know, revenue streams that you all are creating to keep this going, because it is the first, and you all need to be around for a very, very long time.
That's right. That's right.
I do want to mention, because we just had a guest on the Gailey Show, S. Bear Bergman. We interviewed them about their new book with Saul. I'm forgetting Saul's last name. I'm sorry. So you can check out that episode. It's from 2 Saturdays ago. But you are having an event.
We sure are.
With Bear.
Bear will be here live in person on Saturday the 16th. So just 1 week to the day after our grand opening. I saw the opportunity and jumped on it because Bear is such a legendary activist and storyteller and writer in our community. I've been very privileged to know Bear personally over the years. So I, saw him post on Facebook. He was looking for a venue for his storytelling show, and I said, I've got just the spot for you. We're thrilled to be hosting that event. It's co-sponsored by J Pride and Jewish Community Action. We're very, very grateful for their support. We're really excited to have him.
I'm gonna laugh to keep myself from crying. I think that it's really lovely to have you here, to be bringing in, not only having a local space that we can go to, but bringing in folks like Bear into the space. And I think obviously it's going to be so crucial moving forward here based off of the catastrophe. I don't think there's any easier way of putting what just happened to this country. And so I guess as much as you'd like to, how are you kind of processing that in the lens of what this space can be for the community, given that we're going to need this now more than ever?
Yeah, absolutely. We posted a sort of public statement this morning to our listserv and to our social media, and part of that message is, we timed our grand opening on purpose. We knew that regardless of the outcome of the election, that people were going to want and need gathering space to be in solidarity with the community. And man, even today we said either it's going to be dead in here or it's going to be slammed in here tonight, and we are thrilled to say that it's the slammed option. It is bumping in here. In some ways
it is. I don't even think I see a chair free.
Yeah, it's slim pickings for seating options right now, which is lovely. We knew in one way or another that the space would be needed today and certainly in the days ahead. I just, on sort of a personal note, but also as a representative of this organization, this is not actually new for us as a community. We have been through violent regimes. We have been through systems of dehumanization for centuries. And we have always found ways to support each other and connect and share resources. And whether it's, in an underground way or above ground way, we are certainly above ground here. We are on the second floor above Majors and Quinn. And there's something too about this space that, someone came through and said, there's a lot of windows. You can see there's a window behind me. The folks are on YouTube. Yeah. All of the offices have windows in them. There's a ton of natural light that comes in. When we don't, when we're working in here during the day, we often don't even have the lights on because the sun does the job for us. And there's something like really healing about that for our community, for a people who have historically gathered in basements and cellars and alleyways and back rooms and in hiding, to be very much out in the open, in the sunlight, visible and together is I think quite remarkable.
It's, as I was thinking about and prepping for our conversation today, I was just really, how do I put this? Knowing our queer history, in this country, which was, there was the bar raids where we were trying to create our spaces, and the police would raid them, arrest people, publicly shame them, out them, deliberately so that they would be fired and lose their jobs.
Right.
We have states where it's still legal to fire people for being queer and be kicked out of their apartments and housing. And it just... I remember when I heard about the timing, I was like, oh, do they really want to open it the first week? But hearing you talk about that, I mean, I appreciate the intentionality around that. Because we did on another show that I host, This Queer Book Saved My Life. We had a guest, James Darville. It was the season 2. I think season 2, episode 2 for folks if they want to go listen to it. But he was talking about how our existence, our living our lives, our living our love and our truth is an act of revolution, is an act of resistance. And so I feel like on the one hand, I've been very repelled by people saying, get over it and the fight starts back tomorrow, like process your feelings and move on. Right. And I'm like, no, that's not how trauma works.
No.
But also, recognizing as I was prepping for this conversation of how much celebration and joy is resistance, is revolution.
Absolutely. And, in the sort of closing of our statement to the public, we say, queer joy is an act of resistance and queer grief is too, right? To take the time to be together and be in your feelings and be in community and say, hey, you know what? This sucks and this is not okay and we're not here for it. And to not run away from that feeling because... to take the time for that grief is also revolutionary.
It is. Seth, thank you for joining me here on The Gailey Show. We are going to take one last break, and then we're going to come back and wrap up our broadcast from Queermunity, the ice cream social. This is AM 950, KTNF, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
Hey, it's Tom. Let's talk about solar. Not just as a smart choice for clean energy, but as a powerful investment in your future. With All Energy Solar, you get a system that can actually pay for itself in as little as 8 years. And once it's up and running, you're looking at low maintenance and a lot of savings. All Energy Solar has been helping Minnesotans move to clean, affordable energy for over 15 years. They'll work with you to create a personalized energy system, no matter how unique your home or business might be. And All Energy Solar will walk you through every step, from the proposal to design work on your roof, right down to working with your utility company to flip the switch. And they make sure you're saving as much as possible with every rebate and incentive available. So make the switch to solar, cut your energy bills, and do something great for the planet. Book your free solar assessment today at allenergysolar.com. That's allenergysolar.com.
Hey, this is Ellie Krug with Ellie 2.0 Radio. Did you know that we've been doing this show for 6 years on AM 950? And it's one of the only, I think it may be the only show about idealism in all of Radioland. And now the show's at 4 o'clock on Saturdays and still from 1 to 2 on Sundays. It'll be part of a new concept, a series of LGBTQ hosted shows and podcasts. Make sure to check it out.
Hello, this is Philip Anthony, the host of the Downright Upright Show, which airs every Saturday at 5 p.m. This week, my guest will be the one and only Matt McNeil, and we will be, well, it's Matt, so we really have no idea where the show is going. Politics, Minnesota, family, we'll cover it all on the Downright Upright Show, Saturday afternoons at 5 p.m. on AM 950. So continue being fantabulous.
Welcome back to The Gailey Show. I'm your host, JP Derabagosian. We're recording this episode at Queermunity, their ice cream social, one of their preview events leading up to their grand opening, which is Saturday, November 9th, with 3 different events happening. The ribbon cutting at 10 a.m., the family fun day that happens right after the ribbon cutting, and then a amazing, as I'm being told, variety show happening in the evening. If you want to go to the variety show and you're listening to this on Thursday night or Saturday afternoon, go to their website. It is ticketed event only, so queermunitymn.com. queermunity.com. Joining me now is one of the guests, attendees here at the Ice Cream Social, who is also, we're going to get into this as well, one of the renters, the businesses that are located here in the Queermunity space. So, Lucinda, welcome to the Gailey Show.
Thank you, JP. I love that this is called the Gailey Show. Like, how much fun is that name? That's the most fun.
It was a Saturday night, because we were thinking about, like, what are we going to name the show? We went for weeks trying to figure it out, and it was a midnight on a Saturday night brainstorm. I was like, oh, the Gailey Show. So I appreciate that, and I love telling that story because... Anyway, but Lucinda, tell us about your connection to Queermunity, your impressions of the space and the event so far.
I will be happy to. So first of all, I'll talk about the event tonight. Walking in, I could hear the moment I opened the doorway downstairs off of Hennepin Avenue, the crowd sounded happy, it sounded jubilant, and it sounded connected. Lots of voices, lots of laughter. And I thought that was really interesting, actually, because today, a lot of people are calling today a dark day. It's, the day after Election Day. It's the day where we have some difficult news that we're all grappling with. That's one way to put it. That's a mild way to put it.
The mild way.
And honestly, it is, when I walked in this evening, I was really heartened to hear all that connection. And so let me back way up to when I walked in this morning, because I, like JP, like you said, I have an office here. I am the renter of one of the office spaces at Queermunity. And I walked in this morning and got to see the folks who work at Queermunity instead of being isolated in my home office. And I felt so grateful for that experience of walking right into the arms of a community space that's been built for us, and what fortuitous timing that we have with this opening.
We were just talking to Seth about how because I remember when I heard that they were doing the pre-launch events and the grand opening this week, and I was like, oh, do they want to do it that way? Depending on how the election went, for this very reason. And Seth was talking about how that was intentional and designed that way so that there could be this space. And so I think what they were planning for is exactly what you were describing right now, of being able, in the absolute worst case scenario, to be able to walk into the space and to feel the vibe here, which is very clearly upbeat and in a good way, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
And I think people are real about what's happening, but we also know, I mean, as a community, I don't think personally that there's a single LGBTQIA plus person who's not already resilient. I think we can all do things to build our resilience, but really I do think that just from our lived experiences, we have so much resilience in us already. And so to me, this is a signal of resilience, walking in and seeing people connecting, seeing people in conversation, seeing people, even those who are taking a little space to themselves, they're still here and sort of bathed in the warmth and the voices of the community. And that feels really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So another way that I've been involved with Queermunity, actually, I joined the steering committee way back in March.
Oh, wow.
Of this year.
That must have been very interesting. Just because, we were talking earlier about how, there have been a lot of attempts, a lot of committed, we're going to make it happen this time, attempts to have an LGBTQ resource center in the Twin Cities. And for a variety of reasons, some of them, shenanigans
right.
that, kind of blocked that, from moving forward. And I don't mean that with any shade to any organizer over
Absolutely
the past 40 years. It's hard to get this going clearly.
Yeah.
And so tell me a little bit about what that was like serving on the steering committee.
Yeah, I'll be happy to. I do also want to just, tag on to what you were just saying and honor the folks in the community who've already been creating community spaces for us. Like, there are so many folks who've been doing what they can with the resources that are available to create community spaces, and I'm beyond grateful for that. And so when I kind of sat on the choice to join the steering committee for a while, I met with Hillary and KB over a cup of coffee and got a sense of what their mission was and where they were at in the process. And it was most exciting to, I joined pretty late in the process. They had already been going at this for a couple of years, gathering community feedback, getting a sense of how they could fund this project, and figuring out where to locate it. And at the point that I joined, I sort of got whisked into all these final stages. Like, I got to go on building tours. So I was part of helping to pick this location, which was really exciting to walk in here and to feel that sense of like, oh yeah, this is the right space for us right here. And the steering committee itself is, it's racially diverse, it's age diverse, it's gender diverse, it's abilities diverse, it's so intersectional, and that helped me to feel almost immediately like, oh yes, the intentions and values that the organizers, Hillary and KB, and the other folks on the steering committee have are translating into action. They're not just hollow value statements that are well-meaning. I'm always looking for people who can take those ideals and bring them into the phase of action and the phase of reality. And so I can see that reflected around here tonight, like as I look around and see people of so many different identities, so many different intersecting identities. And so that means that I, with my own intersecting identities, can feel even more comfortable, even more, at home and at ease.
So I'm looking off there. There's someone actually throwing a paper airplane, which is just a really nice vibe right now. So as much as you'd like to share, having been on the steering committee, having your business located here, what would you hope, what would be your vision and your hope for this space now leading into the world that we've been placed into by half of America?
I really appreciate that question.
As much as you would want to share that, because I find myself wanting to talk about it and then not wanting to talk about it in the span of 30 seconds. That emotional pendulum. And so I want to honor that and the people that I'm talking to. And I know a lot of folks that I'm talking to digitally, social media, in person, about how scary this time is, largely because of not knowing, right, what's going to be coming next. I mean, there are things we know in Project 2025. I mean, that was pretty clearly laid out of what to expect. But for you, as much as you'd like to share about your hopes for what Queermunity can do to support the community in this time.
Yeah, I really hope that people will dig in to the part of this space that is resource, So we can talk about resource in a couple different ways, or quite a number of different ways. Resource can refer to the physical things that help us just get our life taken care of: food, shelter, clothing, transportation, money, etc. We need those kind of resources. We need service resources like health care and mental health care and body care. We need to have psychoeducation, somatic education. We need the arts. We need creativity. We need all sorts of different practitioners in our lives who can kind of help us build a toolkit for our own personal survival, no matter what the external world conditions are. And that's something that Queermunity does provide. So there's resource navigation here, as well as a free closet full of all sorts of different resources and supplies. There's also resource in the form of relationship, right? So one of the ways I hope that we can provide for the community is that we connect people, we connect community partners with each other, and we connect community partners with people. I hope that people will really lean into all the various resources that are available to get needs met, to really feel like everyday life can happen a little bit more easily. But then beyond that, there's so many resources in the form of like political education, organizing, community organizing, mutual aid. There's resources in the form of radical, exposure to radical values. And what I mean when I say the word radical is at the root. That's the meaning of the word radical is really wholeness at the root. And the root for me is liberation, it's freedom. And so I think Queermunity is set up to provide all sorts of events, connection opportunities, education opportunities, and space where radical values can be transmitted so that we can give each other tools, we can give each other hope, we can give each other stories. We can hold each other when things are desperate and scary and terrifying. We can really take refuge in this space. And that's what I hope Queermunity will do for all of us.
I appreciate you mentioning the radical and getting to the root, because I think that we're in a new phase here where we're going to need to be radical, like these little individual policies, and, talking points and whatever aren't going to cut it anymore. We're clearly dealing with a very well-funded movement that is, blindly followed by half of America. But Lucinda, thank you for joining us here on The Gailey Show. So grateful to spend this time in conversation with you about the space, about the work that you do. Really quickly, with 20 seconds left, how do folks connect with you? What is your website and social handles? LucindaPepper.com. Pepper is spelled just like the spice. And you can find me on Instagram at RealMixPepper and on LinkedIn, Mix Lucinda Pepper, MX Lucinda Pepper. Perfect. Well, thanks everyone for listening today. QueermunityMN.com. This is The Gailey Show on AM 950, KTNF, the progressive voice of Minnesota.